Though the engines hadn't started yet. The street was unnaturally quiet, the kind of stillness that makes the air feel heavy. The afternoon sun hung high and pale, washing everything in soft gold. A small boy stood at the edge of the sidewalk, trembling as though the warmth had left the world. His gray hoodie hung loose on his thin frame, jeans scraped at the knees, fists clenched tight. In front of him knelt a man, broad, tattooed arms covered in stories of the road and scars of old battles. His leather vest carried the emblem of the Hells Angels, worn and proud. His name was Ryder Hale. Behind him stood 5 of his brothers, men of iron and grit, silent, steady, watching the boy as if they'd seen a ghost. 40. The boy looked up, eyes filled with tears, voice shaking like it could break at any second. They took my sister, he whispered. And just like that, the quiet didn't feel safe anymore. It felt like the beginning of something that couldn't be stopped. 50. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and standing up for what's right, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because even the toughest souls can have the biggest hearts. 3. Ryder didn't speak right away. He looked at the boy, Evan, as he'd later learn, and saw something he hadn't seen in years. Helplessness. The kind that cuts deep. Behind him, the other bikers exchanged uneasy glances. They'd seen fights, accidents, loss, but a crying child on an empty street hit different. Ryder stood, his boots pressing into the warm pavement. He placed a steady hand on the boy's shoulder and said quietly, "Start from the beginning." 01, 40A. Through shaky breaths, Evan explained that his sister, Mara, only 12, had been taken, a dark van, 2 men near the park on the far side of town. His mother was at work. He'd chased them until he couldn't breathe, screaming her name, but no one stopped. No one helped. He'd run until he saw the row of gleaming bikes and hoped someone would listen. Someone would care. 2P5. By the time he finished, Ryder's jaw was set like stone. His brothers didn't need orders. They saw everything in his eyes. Steel met purpose. "We ride," Ryder said simply. And that was all it took. Engines erupted, breaking the stillness. The men moved as one. Leather creaked, motors roared, and the street trembled. Ryder lifted Evan onto his bike, strapping him safely. The boy clung to his vest, heart pounding not from fear but from hope. They took off in formation, the thunder of their bikes echoing through the suburbs. Curtains lifted, people stared, and someone whispered, "The angels are flying again." They rode 20 minutes, cutting through traffic with precision born of loyalty. Ryder's contact, Vince, called in a tip. A black van speeding past Route 9 toward the old industrial docks. A bad place, one the bikers knew too well. When they arrived, engines cut off all at once. Silence hung heavy. The van sat by a loading bay, its doors slightly open. A faint, muffled cry came from inside. Ryder signaled his men. They spread out without a word, instincts sharp as blades. One circled behind. Another took the flank. Ryder moved forward, eyes hard, every tattoo seeming to come alive in the light. The first man stepped out from behind the van and froze. He wasn't used to being the one hunted. Seconds later, the bikers had him pinned. Ryder ripped open the van's doors. Inside was Mara, wrists tied, eyes wide, terrified. He didn't say a word. He untied her gently, hands steady, careful, almost fatherly. "You're safe now," he murmured. Evan sprinted forward, wrapping his arms around his sister and refusing to let go. For a long moment, no one spoke. The bikers just stood there, rough men with soft hearts, realizing this was what they were made for. Not rebellion, not pride, but moments like this. 5 police sirens wailed in the distance. When they arrived, the bikers didn't argue or boast. They simply nodded and stepped aside. Ryder looked at his brothers. None of them spoke. It was the quiet that follows purpose, when the rush fades and what's left is meaning. "No one should ever feel alone in this world," Ryder said. "Not a kid. Not ever." As they rode back through the bright streets, Evan waved from the sidewalk beside his sister and their mother, tears shining in her eyes. She mouthed, Thank you again and again, but the roar of engines swallowed her words. They didn't need to hear them. They already had. Hours later, as the sun dipped low, the bikes were lined up perfectly outside Ryder's house. The men sat in quiet peace. No celebration, no noise. Just the calm that follows doing what's right. Ryder leaned back, eyes closed. Hearing that small voice echo in his mind, "They took my sister." He smiled faintly, the kind of smile that belongs to a man who knows he's done something good. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that kindness can come from the most unexpected hearts, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because even in a world full of noise, humanity still speaks softly and acts boldly. Before you go, tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were in Ryder's place? Would you have ridden out too? That day, the Hells Angels didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for applause. They just rode, not for glory, but for a little boy's whisper that reminded them who they really were. And as the engines faded into the distance, the world remembered something powerful. Kindness doesn't always wear a halo. Sometimes it wears leather.